Hello, good morning, and welcome to this week's AI-generated sermon podcast. After a couple of weeks' break, we're back with the message from Denis.G looking at justified by faith, Galatians and the law. Enjoy, and God bless you.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really getting into Paul's letter to the Galatians, specifically that tension, between faith and following the rules, the law. And what strikes you immediately, our sources point this out, is Paul's introduction. It's so different. He usually starts with thanks, but here, wow, he just jumps right in, doesn't he? I am astonished, he says, that you are so quickly deserting the one who called you. Pretty strong stuff right out of the gate.
It really is. And you have to understand the context to get why he's so upset. This is probably Paul's first letter written to a whole group of churches, not just one city. These were mainly Gentile believers, non-Jewish people, probably in what's now Turkey, and the crisis. Well, some other teachers came along after Paul left.
Or Judaizers, right.
Exactly. They were telling these new Christians, look, faith in Jesus is great, but it's not enough. To be truly part of God's people, you need to follow the Jewish law, get circumcised.
Which must have been incredibly confusing for them.
Totally confusing and disruptive.
And it even caused problems at the top, didn't it? I mean, chapter 2 has that incredible story about Paul confronting Peter publicly.
Yeah, that's quite a moment. Peter, who, had received revelations about Gentiles being accepted, like that vision about animals, and staying with Cornelius, he starts pulling back. He stops eating with the Gentile believers when certain Jewish believers arrive. Seems like peer pressure, frankly.
So even Peter, the rock, kind of caves.
He gets it wrong here, which is, well, maybe hopeful for us in a way. But it shows how strong that pull is back towards rules and what feels familiar, or maybe just easier with your own group.
It makes Paul's reaction in chapter 3 make more sense then. He's not just arguing theology. He sees the whole foundation crumbling because of this hypocrisy. He hits them with, "You foolish Galatians, who has bewitched you?" It's so personal. And then the core question, did you receive God's Spirit because you followed the law or because you simply believed the message you heard?
That's the heart of it. They started their Christian life by the Spirit, through faith. But now they were trying to perfect it or finish it through their own efforts, through the flesh, as Paul puts it. It's like taking your car to a mechanic because you trust them. But then halfway through, you barge into the garage saying, no, let me finish the engine, rebuild myself.
It makes no sense.
So is Paul saying any effort on our part is wrong? Or is it about the reliance?
It's about reliance. He's arguing against depending on your own wisdom, your own ability, your own religious performance. That becomes the law of today.
Okay. So it's not just about ancient Jewish law. It could be anything we substitute for simple trust in Christ, like being super busy at church but not actually connecting with God.
Precisely. Or thinking your career achievements or your moral checklist somehow make you right with God. Religion without that core of faith, that trust, is, well, Paul implies it's dead. It's trying to justify yourself.
Okay, but people listening might think, hang on, the law, the 10 Commandments, aren't they good? Paul isn't saying throw out the Old Testament, is he? No, not at all. He actually uses the Old Testament to prove his point against relying on the law for salvation. It's quite brilliant, actually. He makes two key arguments from their own scriptures.
Okay, what are they?
First, he points way back, before the law was even given to Moses. He points to Abraham. Genesis 15:6 says Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness.
So righteousness came through faith, belief, not through rule keeping, even back then.
Exactly. And the promise to Abraham was that all nations would be blessed through him. That promise is older and more fundamental than the law given centuries later.
Okay, that's point one. What's the second?
The second point is, well, a bit tougher. Paul quotes Deuteronomy. Cursed is everyone who does not continue to do everything written in the book of the law.
Everything. That sounds impossible.
That's precisely Paul's point. The law demands perfection. Since nobody can achieve that, the law itself ends up bringing a curse, showing us how much we fail. It reveals sin. It doesn't remove it.
So, if the law brings a curse because we can't keep it perfectly, how does anyone escape that? It sounds like a trap.
And that's where Paul delivers the knockout punch, the core of the gospel message. Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law by becoming a curse for us.
He took the curse we deserve.
Yes. And because of that sacrifice, when we put our faith in him, God declares us justified.
Justified. That word gets used a lot. What does it actually mean practically?
It's a legal term, really. It means God, the judge, declares a guilty sinner righteous, not just forgiven, like wiping the slate clean, but actually declared innocent in his eyes, treating them because of Christ as if they had never sinned. It's an incredible status change.
Wow. Okay, so if God's plan all along was justification by faith, going back to Abraham, why have the law at all for those centuries? Why that detour?
That's a great question Paul addresses. He calls the law a pedagogos. In Greek, sometimes translated as guardian or custodian, maybe even a disciplinarian. It's like a temporary measure. Because people kept going astray, the law was needed to sort of hold things together to define sin clearly until the fulfillment of the promise Abraham's seed, who Paul identifies as Christ, arrived.
So it was necessary for a time, but it wasn't the final plan. It pointed towards Christ.
Exactly. It showed the need for Christ.
And when Christ comes and justification is purely by faith, the result is revolutionary, isn't it? That famous line near the end.
Oh, yeah. There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus.
All those divisions that mattered so much, socially, culturally, religiously, they just disappear in Christ.
Through faith, everyone comes to God on the exact same basis. No special requirements, no second-class citizens. It's radical equality.
Which really brings us back to the start, doesn't it? If the law was that temporary guardian, maybe even a burden people couldn't quite manage. It makes you think, doesn't it? What are the laws today? The expectations, maybe the performance metrics, the cultural standards, even within religious circles that we might be relying on. What things are we trying to finish in the flesh instead of just resting on that original, simple, unifying promise of faith in Christ? Something to wrestle with.